Hello everybody, welcome to Creative Gaming, the show where we inject a bit of RNG into our playthroughs, either for challenge purposes or just a new way to play the game. Phew, we're about to get serious today. Today's game is Demon's Souls, the first of the famous Souls games. First released on PS3 in 2009, it was remade for the PS5 in 2020. While most of the Souls games are available on many consoles and PC, Demon's Souls remains probably the most elusive Souls game, being a PlayStation exclusive. So we're going to dive into the crazy dead world of soul-devouring demons, just to cheer us up.
Dylan, did you say this is a Souls game? I thought you retired from the Souls series.
Well, yes, I actually did retire from this series, but now I'm doing this show, and I have an idea for a challenge run, so I thought it'd be a good idea to return.
Challenge run? You can barely beat these games by normal means.
Well, Negativio is kinda right. A few controllers have given their lives for these Souls games, but they're still very fun, immersive, and addicting. So anyway, here's the challenge I propose today. First of all, I will roll a die to determine my starting class. There are 10 classes total, so I'm gonna use a 12-sided die, or dodecahedron die.
Who says this show isn't educational?
So 1 to 10 will be the associated class, 12 is the wild card where I can choose the class, and I have nothing for 11 so it doesn't count, so I'm just gonna reroll if I get 11. So that'll determine my starting class, but I can still grow my class however I wish, so the starting class might not matter in the long run. I'll also roll this same die to determine my starting gift. Once I start the game, I'll have to beat the first level, Boletaria. Once I unlock the other levels, that's where the normal 6-sided die will come into play. I'll have to unlock the levels one at a time using the die. So rolling a 1 will return me to Boletaria, 2 will be the Stonefang Mines, 3 will be the Tower of Latria, 4 will be the Shrine of Storms, and 5 will be the Valley of Defilement, and 6 will be my wild card. I can unlock whichever level I want. There are 3 sections per level, so to finish an entire level I would have to roll the die to that level 3 times total. I can't go to any levels that I haven't unlocked with the die, however I am allowed to go back to any past levels, whether to grind for souls or collect items. I will allow myself one cheat or reroll. I'll explain more in the next video because I wouldn't be able to use it right now anyway. I can only use it once I unlock the other stages.
Are you sure you want to do this, Dylan? Remember why you have an emotional support animal in the first place.
Oh, Negativio, you worry too much. I'll be fine. Of course, I recommend you try this challenge as well. Whether you have the game for PS5 or need to dust off your PS3, this challenge works in either version. Alright, let's dive into the cursed kingdom of Boletaria. Let's create a character. First thing, I'm gonna roll for my class. Alright, I rolled a 2. That will be the Knight class. Alright, so no magic to start with. We're not doing this challenge on easy mode, I see. We're doing this the old-fashioned difficult way, a melee character. Now I'm gonna roll for my starting gift. This won't matter a ton, but we'll roll for it anyway. A 9. That will be the Soul's Remains. Okay, that's not a very useful item, but whatever. It's kind of a luring item if I remember correctly. Now the appearance of the character. Wow, these don't look anything like me. I'm not gonna waste too much time here, I'll use one of the presets. Oh wow, looks like some possessed twink. He's done his hair well in this post-apocalyptic dead world. He does look cool. Okay, I think I'll go with this handsome fella. So we get a bit of backstory about a king who abused the power of souls and ruined his kingdom. These Souls games have very subtle storytelling. I will go to the tutorial. It's been a while, I need to brush up on my skills. So it's a fairly brief tutorial. The basic commands: R1 to swing your weapon, R2 for a stronger swing, to hand your weapons, parry, etc, etc. One of the reasons these Souls games are so popular is because of the realistic combat. This isn't a game where you can just charge into a group of enemies and just spam your attack button. You'll get murdered pretty quickly. You have to sidestep, you have to block, you have to roll, wait for your opening and strike. It feels like realistic medieval combat. You also have a stamina bar that plays into it. Now we get to the boss. He usually just crushes you in one hit, then you're taken to the main hub of the game. It is possible to defeat this boss, and you get rewarded with a few items. I've actually never beaten this boss myself though. I always end up screwing up. Getting hit from this boss can drain your entire stamina meter if you don't get one shot. Ah shit, I'm dead. He hit me, I staggered, and he hit me again for the kill. We then appear at the Nexus, the main hub of the game. I've always loved the look of this game. When I think of Demon's Souls, I think of the realistic looking knight clad in shiny armor, and this game has a lot of darkness and golden colors and beige. This game just has a very cool look. I love it. So here we meet a few of the NPCs of the game. There aren't too many characters in this game, just maybe a dozen or so, not counting the bosses or enemies. But I mean the NPCs who can actually come to the Nexus. So there's only one level we can choose at this point, which is just as well. It's the easiest level in the game, and that's saying a lot. If you don't like this level, then you're not gonna like the rest of this game. I think we're going to need some extra buttons. It's a Souls game, so I should bring out the bullshit button.
What does that do?
Well, nothing really. But it's a button that feels great to press, especially when I call bullshit. I'm sure we'll get those moments.
Oh, just go with it, folks. Dylan likes to push buttons.
These Souls games definitely know how to make an impression, even if it's just showing a dragon flying around. Demon's Souls was definitely a fresh and new game when it came out. It was a modest release. I don't think a ton of advertisement had been made or anything. And people were intrigued. What is this game? You see that your character has a level, but you can't level up. But spoiler alert, you can level up after this stage. The difficulty took players off guard too. Even these early enemies, which are easy, but they can still shred you to pieces if you just charge in without much forethought. Once you arrive to the Nexus, your maximum hit points have been cut in half too. Players wondered, what the hell is that about? By 2009, games were generally easier. After all, this was no longer the arcade era, where they purposely made games difficult to eat up your quarters. Most games were on home consoles, so games were generally more fair, more balanced, so players could beat them with a little practice. But once Demon's Souls and the first Dark Souls became successful, it told developers that there was still a market for challenging but engaging games. Alright, so obviously with this heavy armor, I have the fat roll. Fat rolling usually isn't recommended in these games. Your actions use up more stamina and enemies can flank you more easily. I believe there are 3 different rolls, the light roll, a normal roll, and a fat roll. You have a maximum capacity, and if you pass certain thresholds, you'll do a different type of roll. Advanced players usually play these Souls games naked because they like the quick roll. For this first level of Boletaria, fat rolling isn't too much of a problem, so I'll just keep it on for now. This game introduced simple but interesting mechanics, like messages. Players can leave messages for other players, whether warning them of upcoming danger, a strategy to use, or even just lying and lure the player into a trap. Here is another staple of the Souls series, going through doors, woo! The thing is, there are usually enemies on the other side, like duh, but you always have to expect the unexpected. Just because you only see 1 or 2 enemies, it doesn't mean that there aren't more enemies out of your peripheral vision. More enemies can jump down from a wall or crawl out of a hole. This series uses this type of trap over and over, and you can get overwhelmed pretty fast. Because of this, I end up tiptoeing throughout most of these games. You have to be smart, you have to be aggressive when you can, and you have to pull back when necessary. Here is an example of another trap, a boulder on top of these stairs. It also gives you access to a new weapon, the Bastard Sword. It's a decent weapon, though I won't equip it for now. There's a red-eyed knight there, but this knight is way above your pay grade. Unless you're an experienced player, you shouldn't even take this enemy on this early. These blue-eyed knights are not as strong as the red-eyes, but they still are more challenging to take down than the other common enemies in the area. They're vicious, they can block, and they can heal. Cut these chains here, it will release an item below. This is an example where leaving messages for other players can help. You might not think to swing your weapon the first time you reach this balcony. There are some hilarious moments from time to time, like this enemy falling off the stairs here, and those 2 enemies down there just set each other on fire and they vaporize themselves. It could be a lack of programming, or you can buy that these are undead type creatures with not much forethought to their actions. Both explanations are believable. This switch here, and we get our first accessory, and a very important one, the Cling Ring. With this item, your max hit points will be reduced to 75% instead of 50% when in soul form. In this game, you have a live version of your character and a soul form. If your character is alive, he has his full hit points. If he's in soul form, he has half his hit points, but I believe you can do a bit more damage. Oh, that looks a little high, but we can get down there. It's hard to gauge a drop that's safe and one that's fatal. Ah, crossbow. This gives us a long range option. Yes, happy birthday to you, dude. Get this dude here. Whoa, oh damn. I call bullshit on that.
No, Dylan, that's the wrong button.
Ah shit, not that button, this one.
Warning, bullshit alert.
You wasted your cheat, Dylan. Sucks to be you.
Oh, that didn't count, Negativio. I can't even use my cheat yet. This level is mandatory, so there's no way to skip it. Alright, so here we start again. All the enemies respawn, but you unlock shortcuts as you progress through the levels, so if you die, you have to take advantage of these. This is one of the appeals of these games. Designer Miyazaki was clever in designing levels with shortcuts. Many levels kinda loop into each other, where you think you're far inside a level, but then you unlock a door and you're like, wow, I'm at this location. You always have to be careful when you target your enemies, especially on these staircases. If they fall off while you swing your weapon, you could follow them down the pit to your death. Here, I made sure not to swing a third time. This, do it again. Oh, I'm really rusty after 2-3 years. Some traps are pretty obvious, like a Looney Tunes cartoon. A bunch of explosive barrels in between you and this firebomb throwing enemy. Here we have one dumb little mechanic I don't like in this game. You can jump over this railing to get a special item, but there's no prompt or indication here that you can do so. In the tutorial level, there is a message that tells you can jump certain railings by using the circle button. But as far as I can recall, these are the only 2 spots in this entire game that you can do this. You can also roll off the staircase to land on top of these railings, but why do that once you know you can just skip over it? Oh shit, I forgot about Ostrava. I'm sorry, Ostrava! He's a key character in this game. Damn, I might have just sent him to his death. This spot has a very important accessory, the thief ring. With this, enemies can detect you from a smaller radius than before. This even works on a couple of bosses. I'll try to save Ostrava. Damn, I want to help him, but I'm striking him too in the process. Phew, okay, we're good. At least it's not like the first Dark Souls, where if you even tap an NPC the wrong way, you're forever on their shit list. Oh, Ostrava's getting himself into trouble again. I better go to his rescue.
Now I take my leave.
Oh shit, Ostrava, you got killed by this little weakling? Oh my gosh, I totally screwed up that storyline. Damn. Oh well, it's too late now, I can't restart this whole game. Here we have a merchant. I think he sells spears. I generally like spears in this game. I won't buy it yet though. These knights are usually easier if you parry them, but parrying is always a mechanic I have trouble with. The timing is pretty precise, particularly in this game, and this enemy swings in different ways. He can swing from the left or right, or just lunge his weapon at you. I always have trouble with the timing. Here is an example of a trap you can spring onto enemies. A few enemies are cramped onto this path here, but this little shed holds some boulders. There are no indications that you can swing at the shed to release these boulders, but normally you can find messages on the ground that players have left to let you know. Another Looney Tunes moment. Here is a cool sight. You see 2 dragons in the distance. You can snag some goodies on this lower path. There are better items on the plateau above. You can get them if you're careful. You have to lure the red dragon away from its perch though. Ugh, I have over 3,000 souls. I don't really want to lose them. Here's an iconic part that has kinda become a cliche in the Souls universe. The bridge cliche. There's a dragon that surprises you when you get onto this bridge, and it fries the bridge and the enemies, so you have to react fast and run away if you don't want to get scorched. When you lure the dragon to this bridge, it gives you a little window to get some of the items on that field where the 2 dragons were. You gotta be quick though. If you're scared of crossing this bridge, one option is to get your character naked. This way he can run for a longer stretch before his stamina is depleted. So it does make crossing this bridge a little easier. Whoops, I forgot to hold up my shield there. Activate this switch, and now we open the main gate to the boss. But before taking on the boss, we'll return to the Nexus and see if we can upgrade our weapon. Alright, one upgrade. In this game you gotta take every advantage you can get. Now we get to the first real boss of the game, Phalanx. It's an interesting boss, probably not something that players would expect at first. And I think this is where Demon's Souls shines the most, its creative bosses. Essentially, Phalanx is a giant slime enemy. It's actually defenseless on its own, but it has a bunch of these hoplite enemies defending it. You don't want to just charge ahead without much forethought. The easiest way to fight this boss is to chug firebombs at it. You want to dwindle the number of hoplites as much as possible. You also want to be constantly moving because the hoplites can throw spears at you, so standing in one spot for too long is a bad idea. If you need to take a breather and heal, you can position yourself on the safe side of these pillars. Once you have fewer hoplites, or run out of firebombs, you can apply turpentine to your weapon, setting it on fire. Both the boss and enemies take more damage this way. I like this first boss because it's not too easy nor too difficult, and it conveys to the player that he has to use a bit of wit and strategy to take down these bosses. While I love the Dark Souls series and Elden Ring, but when it comes to the bosses, these ones in Demon Souls still rank as my favorites. So I'm fighting this boss basically in my underwear. I took off some gear so I wouldn't fat roll. If you destroy all of the hoplites, then Phalanx is by itself and it can't harm you on its own. It's an inoffensive pile of slime. And with that, our first demon is defeated. Our character also returns to life. We have full hit points now. We return to the Nexus. The Maiden in Black tells us we have to talk to the Monumental. I have to admit, the first couple of times I played this game, I had trouble finding this little dude. I actually had to look online to know where to find him. He's here with a candle, but otherwise he doesn't really stand out. He gives you some backstory about some creature known as the Old One, and 5 archstones, which each had their own rulers, and these are basically the different levels we will have to roll the dice to. We can also increase our levels now, finally. Before I jump to a new level, I will return to Boletaria to grind for more levels and collect items I may have missed. So I'm back to that spot with the 2 dragons. I thought the red dragon would be gone by now, and that I could collect the items. I guess he's still here. Maybe I have to go to the second part of this level for the dragon to be gone, but I'm not allowed to do that. I would have to unlock that second portion of the level with the die. Nope, he doesn't come to this bridge anymore either. Alright, I guess I can't get these items yet. I should have bitten the bullet and tried before I destroyed the boss. Alright, so I think I'll stop it here for today. I'll probably return to Boletaria off camera to grind and brush up on my skills. I'll probably need it. Like I said before, I can return to past levels, but I can't go to new ones until I unlock them with the die. Join me in the next episode while I'll roll to see which level I'll go to next. Phew, it'll probably be a difficulty spike. Things get harder from here on. Keep gaming everyone, and see you soon. Hello everybody, welcome back to Creative Gaming. In the last episode I started a special playthrough of the first of the Souls series, Demon Souls. I rolled a 12-sided die to decide my class and starting gift. I rolled a 2 for the Knight class, and I rolled a 9 to get the Soul's Remains as a starting gift. After I beat the first level of Boletaria, I must roll a 6-sided die that will decide my level. So 1 returns me to Boletaria, 2 is the Stonefang Mines, 3 is the Tower of Latria, 4 is the Shrine of Storms, 5 is the Valley of Defilement, and 6 is my wild card. I can unlock whichever level I wish. I'm also allowed 1 cheat or reroll. If I'm struggling too much at a certain level, I can reroll the die for another level, but just once in this playthrough.
Bet you $20 that he'll rage quit before this episode ends.
My cat has all the faith in the world in me as usual. So I just beat Phalanx. I will now roll the die to see which level I go to next. Ideally, I would prefer to roll a 1 or a 2. These levels are manageable at this early point in the game, but 3, 4, or 5 would certainly pose a challenge. Here we go. So I roll a 5. That's the Valley of Defilement. Oh geez, seriously? The dice don't seem to be on my side for this playthrough. First I roll the Knight, so the easy mode of magic is out the window. And then I roll probably the worst level in this game. I actually do like to start this game as a Knight, but obviously I normally do these levels in a certain order. Alright, Valley of Defilement, right off the bat. I have a cheat, and this level was definitely a contender for me to use it, but I'd rather not use it yet. We're right at the beginning of the game. So let's see what we can do here. Ah damn, I hate crap like this. I drop off this ledge to get the drop on this enemy, but he still manages to get the drop on me. Normally your attacks have a wind-up animation, but many enemies can just lunge at you instantly if they want to. Multiple enemies can gank you at the same time too. As I mentioned before, there are always enemies out of your peripheral vision. This level is tough, especially because of the very disorganized look of it, just planks of wood everywhere, and you never feel like you have much ground to walk on. There is a very disorienting feel to this level. Again, my long-range options are very limited. I don't have magic, nor do I have a bow. I have a crossbow and some fire bombs, that's about it. If I remember correctly, I can lower this plank here to get to the other side. Do I strike it? I don't remember how to lower this thing. Strike it with fire? Oh damn, I got lunged at again. Yikes! That's as close to death as you can get. The plank lets you access that item up there, but I can't for the life of me remember how to lower it down. Oh, do I trust this message? I don't think so. Oh, how this game loves its ambushes and petty traps. Now we have to start at the beginning. I don't think you can unlock any significant shortcuts in this level either. I think there are dropping points though. Now I'm undead again, so my HP is dropped to half. I'll have to put the cling ring on again. Ah damn these guys.
I got some advice for you, Dylan.
What is it?
Get good.
Ugh, that's not advice, Negativio. These Souls games enriched our vocabulary. It brought us such special words like get good, GG, and ganked. I don't do a lot of damage either. Should I try the Morning Star? I believe there is a bleed effect on it. Doesn't seem to do that much damage.
Dylan, why did you fire your crossbow at that plank?
Just trying, Negativio. Can't remember how to set that thing down. Roll into it? I know there's like 4 or so enemies down there. Let's give the Soul's Remains a try. Alright, so this is where I died the first time. The farthest I've made it in this level so far. Oh no, poisoned. And I'm effing dead again. Ah damn, I hate this level. I still don't want to use my cheat. I'm gonna go back to the Nexus, see if I can beef myself up somehow. I was able to upgrade the Mail Breaker a few times. The Mail Breaker is a knife type weapon. It's short range, but I'm in the mood for a weapon that has quick strikes. I don't think I've ever used this weapon much before. Knives are a bit less strong than other weapons, but they're faster and I believe the damage from backstab increases. Can I roll this plank down? No?
I'm surprised you haven't hit the bullshit button yet.
You're right, Negativio. Although a lot of these deaths were my fault, whether because I wasn't careful enough, or my skill has just dwindled in the past couple of years. Ah, crap. This one I call bullshit.
That was bullshit.
This damn plank again, it's annoying me. Oh, there's a prompt? It's pretty fussy, it didn't show itself before. Oh yay, a talisman. With this, we can cast miracles and healing spells. That goddamned lack of a wind-up animation by the enemies, I hate it. That's it, that's it, that's it! F this level. I'm using my cheat to get another one. If I roll a 5, I can reroll. I am legitimately allowed another result. Here we go. I roll a 2. Okay, so this is the Stonefang Mines. The Valley of Defilement is locked again, so I'll have to unlock it again if I want to return. Stonefang should be more manageable than the friggin' cheap-ass Valley of Defilement. I wasn't even halfway through that effing level. So it's good that I rolled to this level. Now I can have access to more upgrade stones, thus upgrading my weapons some more. This vendor sells the pickaxe, although I think you can find one in this level, so it's not worth buying. A lot of the undead here just go about their day and they don't even pay attention to you. I love the little twirl that my character does with the mailbreaker, pretty cool. There are a few goodies out here. Ah, these creepy clown enemies. I think they're called fat officials. Not too difficult to take down, but they can throw a fireball to your face and hit you for massive damage. They don't always react to your attacks either, so you have to strike them carefully. A crushing battle axe. Actually a pretty decent weapon, but I think I'll stick with my quick weapon for now. Ew, who left this sticky white stuff here? Oh, it's slime? Sure it is. I'm being careful here because you can get ambushed by a few wolves. Another game where wolves annoy me. Wolves! I think this bridge here gives away. Yes, it does. Make sure you get these enemies with the bags. They usually carry a bunch of stone shards, which can be used to upgrade your weapons. Ah, shit. Get this switch here. Oh, this bridge gives away a second time? Damn. Alright, let's try again. Third time's the charm. Fog door here. Whenever you see these fog doors, make sure you explore every nook and cranny before going through them. This pit with the fire lizards. Again, it's a trap. If you want to collect the goodies, you might get overwhelmed if you don't deal with these lizards first. Alright, we're about to get to a very important NPC in the game. Secret item here. Oh, it's just a clearstone shard. The blacksmith Ed here can forge very special weapons for you, but only much later in the game. Here is another plank that gives away. It's best to have your character weigh the least possible. Also run, because the plank gives away anyway. Great club, a few more goodies. A bridge with a big group of enemies over there. But these Souls games usually provide other opportunities to approach problems, either by some trap you can set or just another way to go around. You should always play as smart as possible. By the way, there is no such thing as cheating in these games as far as I'm concerned. Backstab your enemies when you can or push them off a ledge. Screw valor and honor. The enemies are never gonna play fair with you, so why should you? Wolves and fire lizards. Oh wow, look at this wolf. More aggression than smarts, it seems. It's a type of basic programming that's a little comical. Another Looney Tunes type moment. A bunch of barrels in front of this fat official. Don't get caught in their explosive fire. Ah yes, you have a maximum weight capacity in this game. Every item has a weight, and your character can't exceed a certain weight. You always want to leave some valuables with Stockpile Thomas in the Nexus. This PS5 version actually allows you to send things to storage without leaving the level. I don't think you could do that in the old PS3 version. You can send all your stones to storage. You can still use them to upgrade your weapons even if they're not in your inventory. Now I arrive at Armor Spider, the boss of the area. Phew, I normally just stay near the fog door and just fire a bunch of arrows at it. But I haven't found a bow yet. I have a crossbow, but I have to get closer to attack it. Armor Spider is very aggressive. He fires a web at you that slows you down and prevents you from rolling for a few seconds. He can shoot different patterns of fire at you. You're much safer in this tunnel at a distance, but of course it's more difficult to damage it from afar, and you cause less damage the further away you are. The bosses in Demon Souls were designed cleverly enough that you can always get close to them to attack them with your weapon. However, this boss I have never really been able to attack at short range. A lot of its attacks can stagger you and damage you hard. As I said, he's very spammy and aggressive, and I have trouble reading its attacks for some reason. A lot of players say he's easy, but I've never been able to melee this boss without getting squashed in a matter of seconds. And if you die, it's a bit of a long walk back to this boss. Ah damn, I'm out of bolts. Looks like I have no choice. I'll have to go attack this thing straight on with my little knife. Oh crap, I forgot about this attack. If you stay in close proximity for too long, he spits this oil in the area and sets it on fire. Shit, shit, shit! Phew, that was a close call. Ah damn, I didn't have my herb selected. And he got me. Ah shit, I'm in major trouble. I have no bolts left, no ranged attacks at all, and I have very few healing herbs left. I'm totally screwed. Oh boys. Here I try again with my little knife. He's so spammy. He can just attack you every second or two. He does take decent damage from my knife though. If I can learn to read his attacks, I might stand a chance. Hide behind his claws here, though it's not a guaranteed safety zone. After a while, he releases that fire oil too. Okay, so he does have a claw attack that gives you a few open seconds to get close and strike. Shit, the fire. Oh, I'm actually getting close. No! No! Oh my god! That was intense. I can't believe I beat Armor Spider with my friggin' knife. This was like a suicide mission. I went in totally expecting to get my ass handed to me. I was thinking, what the hell am I gonna do? Grind for souls to buy a couple of hundred bolts? Phew. Well, at least I know a little better how to read its attacks now. It took me over 20 minutes to slog through this fight, but I finally came out on top. Whew. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to preemptively prevent my nervous breakdown. Be right back.
I got to hand it to you, Dylan. I thought you would rage quit by the end of this episode.
The great Dylan Evers does not quit within the first couple of episodes.
Your Mega Man X challenge run.
Oh, well, that was different. So now I'll give the same speech I gave during my Breath of the Wild challenge run. If you want to see me continue this playthrough, give me a thumbs up and comment. I try not to play the same game for more than 2 episodes in a row, because I need to gauge people's reactions and what they're interested in. So depending on how well this video does, Demon's Souls episodes might come more or less frequently, or I can always stop a playthrough if people aren't interested.
Dylan's trying to look out of this challenge run, folks. Don't let that happen. Show your support and write in the comments. Keep him playing.
God only knows which level I'll roll to next. So that's it for today. Keep gaming, everyone. Hello everybody, and welcome to Creative Gaming, the show where we inject a bit of RNG into our playthroughs, either for challenge purposes or just a new way to play the game. Do you know what time it is, Negativio? That's right, it's time to continue with my Demon's Souls Dice Challenge. Back in May, I started a playthrough of Demon's Souls, where I rolled a 12-sided die to decide my starting class and starting gift. After beating the first level of Boletaria, I rolled a 6-sided die to decide my next level. So I had rolled a 5 and was forced to start with the Valley of Defilement. And, well, that didn't go too well. I had to use my one-time cheat already to roll to another level. I rolled a 2 and that took me to the Stonefang Mines. After barely beating Armor Spider, seriously, what the hell was up with that stagger? This was like an entire 6 seconds. And I'm not editing this footage, by the way, this is the actual timing. Ugh. So today I continue with this playthrough.
That he hasn't given up yet.
Time to take out the bullshit button again, because this is a Souls game. So it's time to roll the die to a new level. Phew, this is making me nervous. What if I roll to the Valley of Defilement again? That friggin' awful level. Anyway, enough anticipation. Let's roll. Alright, a 4. That takes us to the Shrine of Storms. Okay, a tough level in its own right, but this is one of the best levels to grind for souls. So if you want to level up or buy stuff, it's handy for that. Every level in this game has their own use. The levels in Boletaria are usually a great place to farm for healing herbs and other items. Stonefang is great for getting stone shards to upgrade your weapons. The Tower of Latria gives you magic spells and magic restoration items. The Shrine of Storms gives you more souls, and the Valley of Defilement, well, they gave me a talisman, so that's something. So this level starts you off outside the gates of some fort. You're introduced to these rolling skeleton enemies, the silver skeletons. These enemies roll towards you, and you can get hit while they roll, so it's best to tank their hits with your shield. You can roll to avoid them, but I don't find that works super well with these guys, unless they're standing. Go for a backstab when you can. In the last episode I was using a mail breaker, a knife type weapon, but now I've returned to my original longsword, upgraded. Given the nature of this challenge run, I'm not sure how to develop my character. Should I go for a strength build or dexterity build? But I'm probably going for a more strength build. I have the healing miracle, but I don't have a catalyst, so I can't use magic. You have to be careful when going up this staircase. There are a few of these skeleton enemies, and you don't want to aggro more than one of them at the same time, otherwise you can get in major trouble. They do stagger to your sword swing, so you can still get out of a predicament. Oh, there's a talisman in this level as well? Then damn, this makes the Valley of Defilement completely useless to visit. A Kalij. I don't think I've ever tried this weapon. There are traps in this level, usually found in these narrow corridors. You step on a tile on the ground and it activates darts that can hit you for a lot of damage. Keep your shield up, although there is an instance where you get shot from behind. What's weird about this level is that, in most levels in the game, you unlock shortcuts through the level. Shrine of Storms is an exception though. For whatever reason, there are no intended shortcuts to the bosses, which sucks. Although this first level has an unintentional shortcut. If you get your character naked or reduce their weight, they actually get a more floaty fall or roll, and you can actually roll off the wall here. This was an oversight by the developers, but they actually kept it in this remake, so if I struggle too much at the boss, this is an option. I think there's a weapon over there if I remember correctly, but it's guarded by a fairly tough enemy, this dual katana wielding enemy. He would probably destroy me. I kinda hate fighting enemies in these narrow passages. The camera sometimes switches between third person and your perspective, and you can't really see what you're doing. Your weapon swings can also bounce off the walls, though these enemies don't seem to have that problem. I rolled here, but you wouldn't have guessed with the janky camera. I can't see what I'm doing here. How the hell was that not a backstab? Alright, a compound longbow. I finally get a bow option. My ranged attacks are pretty limited so far. Aesthetically, this is probably one of my favorite levels in the game. It's kind of a ruined fort inside a mountain, but there's something very creepy about it. These skeleton enemies, but I find these giant stingrays that fly in the sky pretty unsettling as well. They also make these creepy sounds. I like the sound design in this game, and oftentimes the sounds aren't just for atmosphere, they're cues. These stingray enemies make a certain sound if they spot you and throw their stingray projectiles at you that you can't see coming. I always say that if you play Demon's Souls on mute, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage, because the sound is integral to the game as much as the visuals are. Now we get to some baby bird who is able to trade priceless items for some of your shiny ones. It's a bit annoying because you have to go into your menu, select an item and drop it on the ground. If the bird doesn't like it, it'll tell you right away. But if it likes the item, you actually have to leave the level and come back to get the traded item. You can just save your game and reload again, but still, that's an annoying mechanic. You should just get the traded item right away, instead of going through all this trouble. Now we rescue Grave Robber Blige, not the most dignified title, but he's actually a very good NPC. He's just a merchant, but he sells you some pretty good items. Here and in the second part of Shrine of Storms. Oh, he's got the longbow. I can't equip the compound bow right now. It requires 22 strength, which I don't have yet. I should be able to equip the longbow though. And buying arrows is always handy. There's leather equipment and barbarian equipment as well. Pretty cool, though I don't think I will buy any of them. Take a swing at the wall to just make it disappear. And there's another trap here. Ah shit, the stingrays are pretty dangerous. If you wear the thief ring, it makes things a bit easier. The stingrays detect you a lot less than if you don't wear it. Shit, they don't always make the sound it seems. I got caught by a couple of stingrays and I didn't get any auditory cues. I think the Ushi Katana was a pretty decent weapon, though I don't have the stats for it yet. I want to go back to the Nexus. I got a good amount of souls. It might be time to level up. Whoops, I just came back to the level by mistake. Oh well, maybe I'll do another little run to get more souls. Alright, back at the Nexus. Your equipment has usage in this game. You have to pay to repair them so they don't break. Checking to see if I can upgrade some weapons, though probably not. Keep your inventory clean too. Everything has a weight, and it's annoying when you find treasure in a level, only to be told that you're too heavy so you can't pick it up. Let's level up.
Then touch the demons.
Oh, touch the demon inside me. You know you want to.
Barf?
Alright, so now we're going to explore further into the level. Let's get his attention. Backstabs are really fussy. I should practice with the bow. I've forgotten how to manually aim. L1? Okay, got it. Let's give it a try. There's a tough enemy to the left here. I don't want to draw its attention, although there is some treasure there. I'll save it for a little later. Here there's another trap. I think the darts come from the back this time. Yep. Okay, time to try this dude. 24 damage, yuck, that's not a lot. Let's see if I can attack him through this wall.
Seriously, Dylan? This is how you're gonna fight this guy?
Hey, this is Demon Souls. This isn't about honor and dignity. Cheat and steal the victory, biatch. I don't feel bad about cheap tactics in these games. With an enemy that can destroy you in 2 hits, but you have to hit them like 30 times, I'll exploit the hell out of the situation. Oh yay, the Adjudicator Shield. This is an awesome item. You slowly recover your hit points when you wear it. Alright, I finally killed the enemy, though to be honest, I probably took more damage fighting him through the wall. His katanas could hit me through the wall at any time, but not me. Totally fair! Going back to the Nexus again. Oh shit, I wasn't careful. I aggroed these 2 skeletons. Oh god, I'm in major trouble. Can I do it? And no, I couldn't. Damn it. I'm tempted to press the BS button, but this death was my fault, so I won't. Well, I lost my human form again, and my hit points are reduced to half. I could have beaten those 2 skeletons, but I panicked a bit. Demon Souls has a mechanic called tendency. Your character and all of the levels have a tendency, either white, black, or in the middle. If you help NPCs and perform good deeds, your tendency goes towards white, or righteousness. If you attack NPCs or die while in body form, then your tendency shifts to black. When a level's tendency shifts towards black, extra enemies start to appear in the level. These are known as Black Phantoms. They're usually pretty strong and difficult to take down, and if you die while in your body form too many times here and reach Black Tendency, a Black Phantom spawns right next to the first skeleton enemy in this level. If that happens, you're pretty much screwed. That Black Phantom is far stronger than your character, and he's very difficult to bypass if you just want to go through the level. He chases you pretty aggressively. This happens in the other levels as well, but the Black Phantom they place at the start of this level is probably the worst placed enemy in this entire game, so we can't let that happen. This Vanguard enemy is the same mini-boss that appears in the tutorial. Doesn't look very friendly, does he, with his multiple fiery eyes? Oh, that's a lot of damage, and a friggin' stingray projectile to top things off. I believe there's a decent weapon behind this enemy. Ah, the Crescent Falchion. I think this is a pretty decent weapon. I think it does magic damage and a bleed effect. Progressing further into the level, we're on the narrow side of this mountain. You have some gold skeletons here. They have bigger weapons and are stronger than the silver skeletons, but they don't roll. You have to be careful because there are those stingray enemies as well. It's annoying to get hit out of nowhere from a projectile you don't see coming. Sometimes you hear the stingrays and sometimes you don't. I really like how my small sword bounces off the side of the mountain, but this skeleton's big ass sword just goes right through. There is a move in this game that I don't think they ever teach you about. If you quickly tap forward and the R1 button at the same time, you kinda do a shove. It doesn't do any damage, but it's a stamina depleting move that interrupts an enemy's attack and creates an opening. I'm just gonna shove this dude off the mountain here. Ah shit, F you. A few more treasures. This path here is the unintended shortcut if you roll off that wall that I mentioned earlier in this video. Regeneration ring. Alright, another good item. We're almost at the boss. Of course, they had to put that dual wielding katana enemy here. I'm just gonna bypass him. Now we get to the boss, the adjudicator. If you have magic, you can just stand on top and fire away, but you have to be careful with this enemy's tongue. It has a giant tongue that can just attack you through the walls, of course. Sometimes you're just making your way down and you get hit by something you don't even see coming. This is another interesting boss. This giant overweight monster seems pretty intimidating, holding these giant meat cleavers. Then you attack it and you realize you're not doing any damage. If you're like me, you're probably gonna panic quickly. But again, it pays to be observant. If you circle the boss, you realize there's a blade stuck on its side and blood is pouring out. You attack it, and again, you don't cause any damage, but don't get discouraged. After enough hits, the monster staggers and kneels down. You realize there's a nest in this bird on the monster's head, which is the real adjudicator. Attack it while you can. Again, Demon Souls uses a lot of psychology on its players. They can instill fear, doubt, and confusion on you. But remain composed, take a look at your surroundings and your enemy, observe, and everything starts to make sense. This arena is a little cramped too. And with that, the adjudicator is defeated. I think there are a couple of treasures inside this boss room that I didn't get. Oh shit, this phantom enemy could walk in here? Alright, back to the Nexus. So I have another level completed. That'll do it for this episode, but join me next time as I roll the die to my next level. Keep gaming, everyone. Hello everybody, welcome back to Creative Gaming. Alright, in this episode I continue with my Demon Souls playthrough. I won't repeat the rules in great detail again, that's what the previous episodes are for. But the short version is I'm rolling a 6-sided die to decide, level by level, my progress throughout this game. So in the last episode I was in the Shrine of Storms, and it's about time that I roll the die again to see where I'm going next.
I can't wait.
Like to see me suffer, do ya? So here we go. Okay, so I roll a 3. That takes us to the Tower of Latria. Another pretty tough level, but I should be strong enough to take it on by now. So Latria seems to be the land of magic, or the soul arts. Latria had a queen residing in her ivory tower, but through lore you discover that she had banished her husband. He came back with a vengeance, wearing mysterious golden garb, and this land, much like the other ones, was plunged into darkness. This first level of Latria seems to be some prison tower. I said in the last episode that the Shrine of Storms might aesthetically be my favorite level, but that just possibly might be surpassed by this level. There's so much atmosphere to each of the levels in Demon Souls. You do feel the desolation, the desperation, the creepiness of a kingdom ruined by greed and power. But Latria definitely takes this a step further. This tower is a prison tower, but even more than that, it becomes apparent that it's a torture tower as well. You come across several torture devices, chairs with nails, iron maidens, you see corpses hanging, etc., etc. It's definitely disturbing. To top it off, you hear screams of anguish and another character screaming for help. The most dangerous enemies here are these mind flayers. Mind flayers never seem to be good news in whatever game they're in. These ones are no exception. They can one-shot unprepared adventurers. They walk around with this little bell ringing, and they do have this little green glow too, so you can kinda gauge their location even if you don't see them, again using audio as some type of cue. It's best to try to sneak up on these mind flayers from behind. They can blast you with a magic spell, but they can also grab a hold of you and chomp you for massive damage. This level is a bit dark, so you don't always see well in the distance. This is one of the more maze-like levels. It's easy to get confused in this place, with these winding corridors that all look similar. You also start on the 3rd floor. There's a 3rd floor east, there's a 3rd floor west. There are a total of 4 floors, each with their east and west versions. And you find different keys for many of them. My sense of direction sucks in this place. Obviously, Demon Souls doesn't have a map or compass.
Dylan can barely find his way within this bachelor apartment.
Oh yay, a catalyst. Now we can finally use magic.
Uh-oh, he's unlocked easy mode. I might lose my bet after all.
This place is definitely confusing. I've talked about messages you can read from other players or leave on the ground yourself. I think you can appraise these messages. If a message has a high appraisal rate, it's usually because it's a helpful message. Players can trick other players with bogus messages, in which case it would probably be rated low. So you make decisions on whether you decide to trust a message or not. There are these regular enemies as well. A lot of them aren't hostile, they just come up to you with their arms flailing in the air. I think they want a mercy killing. Some other enemies have weapons or poisonous knives. Oh, I'm being invaded. Was this a game phantom? No, I think it's a real player. One of the defining traits of these Souls games is invasion. You can get invaded by other players, and you can invade other players' worlds as well. It's a pretty fun concept, and it makes sense within the logic of this game world, with everything being souls and spirits, etc. I have this ring that supposedly hides me from the player's sight. Let's see if it works. Ah, he's over there, looking for me. Alright, so I don't know what type of player this is. Some of these players are highly skilled. Winning an encounter can give you souls or other rewards. Bah. Alright, I can kind of tell that this isn't a very experienced player, although he did get me. But being prepared to tackle a level isn't the same as preparing yourself to fight an invading player. I'm generally not good against other players. I'm more of a patterns kind of guy. I can study enemies' patterns and get by with that. But with other players, that's a much bigger variable. It becomes about quick reactions. Experienced players can usually parry and riposte your attacks, making them hard to fight. Or they have some weapon with status effects, or they can one-shot you with some big-ass weapon. I will say, the player versus player, or PvP, in Demon Souls is probably the worst of any of the Souls games. Dark Souls improved this sequel by sequel, and in Elden Ring invasions work pretty well. But there are a few issues in Demon Souls. First of all, you can have plenty of healing items. Both you and your opponents can heal constantly, which can really draw out a fight if you're evenly matched with another player. In future games, that's why they created the Estus Flask or other means of limiting players' recovery. Second, there is graphical stutter or inaccuracies. For example, when I'm fighting the other player, I'm swinging my sword and it takes a second for the hit to register. So it becomes the battle of my internet versus his internet. This is true for other Souls games as well, but it seems to be worse here. When they remade this game for PS5, I thought they would vastly fix a lot of these issues, but it doesn't seem like they did. You don't get a lot of invasions either. I have played this entire game without ever getting invaded, and yes, I kept my character in body form. I tried to invade other players as well, but again, it wasn't working. I guess the Demon Souls servers don't get as much traction as the other Souls games. Like I said, you can only get invaded when your character is alive. You don't get invaded when you're in soul form. There is an item that can revive your character, but then if I die and get invaded again, the level tendency will shift more to black, and we get more of the tough black phantoms appear in the level. Another cool aspect is seeing other players' bloodstains. When you interact with these, you see a silhouette of the player and you see how they died. This can give you a clue about what's ahead. Again, it's cool and it makes sense for this undead world. If you die, you leave a bloodstain as well, in your world and other players. You need to reach your bloodstain again if you want to get back your souls. Your souls are your currency, so it sucks to lose them. You can only retrieve souls from your last death, so if you die before you get to your souls, you'll lose those ones forever, because you create a new bloodstain. You can bring these hanging corpses down with an arrow. Oh gosh, if a mind flayer starts running towards you like some toddler, just run away for dear life. If you get in front of their character model, they simply just grab you, even if you try to roll. Then they just chew on your face for massive damage. Ah shit, he caught me. Now we get to the Iron Maiden traps. These kinda suck because you have no way of knowing if there's an item inside or an enemy just waiting to ambush you. And if they stab you, you can get poisoned. If you're unprepared, you might lose a fair amount of hit points before you figure out which item can remove poison. This flower, called the Royal Lotus, can remove poison, and you can find a few in this level. Here I find Sage Freak. He's an NPC worth rescuing. He can turn bosses' souls into magic spells.
I have been trapped here for an age. I am a sage.
Here is another character, Riddle. He's more difficult to rescue than Freak. I believe you can only find the key to rescue him in the second level of Latria. First time players might completely miss this because by the time you get to that second level, you'll probably forget this character. Here we find the fluted equipment, probably the most defensive equipment in the game, although most likely it'll make you fat roll. I started with this equipment because of the Knight class. I can send this to storage, but on the PS3 version of Demon Souls you couldn't do that. You had to drop some other items if you wanted to pick these up. This weird ball of corpses, because this place wasn't yet creepy enough. Here is another trap, the Ballista trap. This makes crossing the bridge very dangerous. It looks tempting with all these treasures on it, but as usual this game has another way of going around this trap. Although it is possible to get through it if you roll at the right times, but the timing is pretty precise, so try at your own risk. Remember that the starting point of this level is pretty far from here. So I'm just gonna play it safe. Two of these mind flayers. Even outdoors, the sky always seems to be dark here. Definitely the creepiest level in the game. Alright, I always like getting new clothes or equipment. Now we're on the other side of the ballista. We can stop this trap and nab the treasures. Here we get to a unique NPC, kind of an oddball, and he seems friendly. Your first instinct is to probably leave him alone. He doesn't seem to be very threatening. But, spoiler alert, this weakling can revive the boss of this level over and over, so if you don't kill him you can't beat the boss. So, as heart-wrenching as it is, you gotta stop him from using this revival spell. I believe there's a black phantom down there. I don't know if they appear when I'm in soul form. Yes, they do. So this enemy has a knife and a small shield, which implies that she can probably parry your attacks. So I'm being a little cautious here. I believe she can poison you or put some other status ailment on you. Alright, so now I rescue Frake. When you return to the Nexus, you can get spells from him.
I never expected I might escape alive. I have a proposal. You bring as I determine more. You have a connection. Do not pay.
And here we are at the boss. Another pretty cool boss. This lady is actually the image of the Queen of Latria, but her ex-husband, the old monk, has animated a doll in her image as a symbol of hope for the prisoners of Latria. One thing Demon Souls does really well is atmosphere. Regardless of level or boss, they always nail the atmosphere in this game. This boss is pretty creepy. She looks like some librarian levitating around and reading a book. She doesn't even seem to be paying that much attention to you. But when she sees you, she does attack you with soul magic. There are invisible circles on the ground that temporarily stun your character. So it's not always easy to just run up to the boss and attack. Also, she can create doppelgangers of herself. They all appear in the central corridor, so it's safer on the other side of these pillars. But there are no guaranteed safe spots, because the boss or one of her doppelgangers can usually still get you with their spell. There can be 2, 3, 4 copies of her. It's hard to tell which is the real boss and which are the copies. But the real queen fires a spell that's a lighter blue than her copies. Also, the fakes have their energy bars right above their heads, but not the real one. She only has her long health bar at the bottom. Keep this into consideration. She disappears and reappears somewhere else after a few hits. You can fire arrows or spells at her, but they don't do significant damage. So as the battle goes on, it becomes a bit of a mess, with multiple copies that can attack you from any angle. Ah shit, these damn circles. Alright, I'm just gonna finish her off with an arrow. Okay, so we have another demon down. These gargoyles take you to the second part of the level, but I can't visit here past the bonfire. Need to unlock the area with the die. Now I can learn Soul Ray. I don't plan on spamming magic in this playthrough, but sometimes a little magic can be convenient. Alright, Negativio, we're 4 episodes in and I'm not quitting yet.
Well, congrats, but the second part of each level is coming up.
Oh, don't remind me. I will be on to another game next episode, but as usual, send me your likes and comments and I'll return to this game soon enough. Keep gaming, everyone. Hello everybody, and welcome to Creative Gaming, the show where we inject a bit of RNG into our playthroughs, either for challenge purposes or just a new way to play the game. Okay, this month we return to Demon Souls, so this is the 5th episode in the Demon Souls series. For more details on the rules for this playthrough, I encourage you to watch the previous videos, and of course try this challenge yourself if you dare. Just to quickly recap where I am in the game, I finished the first mandatory level of Boletaria. I was then rolling a die to decide my levels. So I first rolled a 5, which took me to the Valley of Defilement. I got obliterated, so I used my cheat.
Very early.
I then got a 2, so I completed the first level of the Stonefang Mines. I then rolled a 4 for the Shrine of Storms, and finally I rolled a 3 for the Tower of Latria. It's time to see where I'm going next. So I roll a 3 again. I guess we're returning to the Tower of Latria for the second section. Oh, that's not great news. The level itself is fine, though this level has a pretty nasty boss at the end. This second section of Latria is different than the first section. If you remember, I was in a maze-like prison tower with torture devices and such. It was a pretty creepy level. Now we're on top of buildings. We are high up in the air, open sky but total darkness, and we cross these pathways that connect the structures. You can see fire torches and giant chains in the sky. It's a different vibe than the prison, but it still manages to be pretty creepy and unsettling. You also have these gargoyle statues, and sometimes a real gargoyle is perched there. When you get near the statues, hit the targeting button, that is R3. If one of the statues is a real gargoyle, you will target it. Oh, I'm not doing a lot of damage. These gargoyles aren't too difficult to fight, but like in many cases, they're made more difficult by their environment. You have pits on both sides of you. You can sometimes fight them on larger platforms, which is a bit safer. Sometimes they'll fly away and reposition themselves. This is another level that I like aesthetically. Contrary to the more claustrophobic prison, here you're in the sky, more open space, but the total darkness makes it creepy, and seeing the gargoyles in the distance appear as black silhouettes. Between that and their screams, it's another well-realized level that gets under the player's skin. There are also weird bug enemies and a swamp area. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the gigantic heart that's kept suspended by the giant chains. Ah, I hate these gargoyles with the crossbow. They have a tendency to run or fly away from you. Long range attacks work best, of course. Here's a message from a player probably just wanting to amuse himself. He says try slash attack, but it does nothing, and if you're too close to the edge you'll probably fall off. There are also spiral staircases around towers. This is the way to the boss of the level, but we can't get past this tentacle thing that blocks the path. We'll have to progress further into the level. I think there was a dropping point around here somewhere, and I could get an item, but I can't remember where that dropping point was. There's that giant heart. When you go through this level, you don't really know what your objective is, but your objective is to release that heart from its chains. It's a pretty big endeavor just to get its tentacle out of the way. I can use magic now, but of course it's not very strong. Oh, a flameburge, or flameberg? I seem to recall this being a pretty decent weapon. I need 14 dexterity though, which I don't quite have yet. That gargoyle seems confused. Oh, it's falling off the map. It's not dead yet. Did he avoid that invisible line of death? Oh, it's coming back up. But now he's stuck under the structure. Don't give up, little guy. You can make it. Oh, he got a hit on me, but I guess he deserves a shot after what he's been through. Oh shit, that scared the crap out of me, just dropping like that. Sometimes you have to fight a gargoyle on these spiraling staircases. I hate that because, again, you have trouble seeing what you're doing, and if you swing your weapon while it's flying above the pit, you could swing your way to your death. Elevator here. I think there are secrets on the other side. Oh crap! Oh phew. I thought I was dead right there. Huh? Where did the item go? It's gone? Oh, there it is. I guess that corpse was mobile. They're usually stationary. Again, seeing these guys perform some magical ritual usually isn't a good thing. So there are your objective. Kill them to release the chains. There is a key somewhere that can release Riddle, that trapped NPC who's in the prison tower. I forget how to get it though. I think it has to do with white tendency or something. Staircase over there. Okay, we seem to have a fork in the road. Those suspended cages actually take you to the swamp below, but there is a path here as well. Alright, I guess I'll go check the swamp first. If you've ever heard horror stories about a swamp in Demon's Souls, this isn't the swamp they're talking about. They're actually talking about the swamp in Valley of Defilement, which is in the second section of that level. The swamp here isn't nearly as large nor difficult, but it is creepy. They have these insect things made up of multiple faces. Oh, nice! A fragrant ring. This is a very useful ring, especially if you're playing as a mage character. Equipping this very slowly restores some of your magic points. It's handy inside the levels themselves, but it doesn't regenerate quickly enough to help you during a boss battle. We have that big ball of corpses again. It's annoying to fight because it can fire a soul arrow at you. You can attack it straight on, but you have to be careful because it starts flailing. And it can flail for a very long time. So you have to get some distance away from it to stop. It's annoying to fight, it also moves towards you. It's very subtle, you can't really tell at first that it's moving, until you realize that it's actually gaining ground on you. Just checking the tendency. You have black or white tendency for every level, as well as your character itself. It is a little confusing down here, but it's not a super large area. A mind flayer again. Oh god, no, not the toddler run. Oh, that bug is gonna fall off. I'm not gonna get it in time. I have to be careful here because I can see 3 gargoyles total. Another elevator. Okay, this just goes in circle. Alright, now we're disrupting another one of those seance things. I've probably unblocked the way to the boss by now. Okay, I think this loops back to the beginning of the level. I'm just gonna stab you in the butt. Stab you in the butt, stab you in the butt. Alright, so since I'm close to the beginning of the level again, I might as well return to the Nexus. Maybe raise a soul level or 2. Upgrade the Flameberg. 14 dexterity, so now we can use that weapon. Now I'm going back to Stonefang to buy some Shardstone shards. Okay, plus 4. I would need some large Sharpstone shards to upgrade further. It sucks that I haven't unlocked the second level of Stonefang, where I could get better ores. I'm limited to how much I can actually upgrade my weapons. Alright, heading back now. There is one section in this level I haven't been to. Okay, so now the Flameberg does decent damage. It's also a heavy weapon which staggers the enemies easily. We can also access this area near the heart now. Some more goodies. A nippy rapier and a gold mask. If I ever do another challenge run of Demon's Souls, I'll probably consider being a female character. They get to use some interesting equipment. Now I'm back to that fork in the road. I went down to the swamp last time. Now I'll continue on this structure. Here there is a trapped NPC. This is Yurt, the Silent Chief. I'm about to give away a major spoiler here, so if any of you don't want a major plot point spoiled, I advise you to skip to the next time code. This is actually a very dangerous NPC. Right off the bat, he gives you chills. The weird armor, the creepy voice. If you rescue him, he goes chill to the Nexus, like many other NPCs. But as you play the game, you start to realize that other NPCs in the Nexus start dying. I think every time you clear a level, a new NPC gets killed. If you catch on too late, you could have almost everybody dead in the Nexus, which is a big blow to you, the player. You may not be able to buy spells or items anymore. The Nexus is supposed to be your safe zone, a place where you can gather your thoughts and try to improve your character. But if you're not familiar with this character Yurt, he can severely screw up your game. So here is what most players familiar with this game do. You can kill him here, and you can just push him off.
What have we here? Do you wish to die so soon?
He dies. Only 700 souls. But then you can save your game, quit, reload, and you can actually obtain his equipment. His equipment is of similar weight and defense to the fluted equipment, but it has better protection against ailments like poison and plague. Not to mention that it looks pretty cool. So this is a major game spoiler. Now that we've dropped the big heart, I don't remember if there are any new accessible locations in the swamp. Ah shit, I'm not gonna be able to get that little lizard again. If you can kill them, they drop very useful ores, sometimes more advanced ones that you need. Oh wow, a gargoyle crossbow. I don't think I've ever seen this item before. Again, there's a key you can get here somewhere, but I don't remember where it is or how to get it. When I'm playing these games, I'm usually proceeding with my own memory. I don't look up game spoilers before, and there are things that I forget sometimes.
Are you procrastinating? Get to the boss already.
You're right, I am procrastinating, because I do know what's coming up. One final visit to the Nexus before we head to the boss. Now we get to one of the biggest crimes against humanity. An effing mind flayer on these circular stairs. Why the hell would you stick an enemy like this in a narrow circular staircase that's heading in the middle of friggin' space? This game doesn't give a shit about you and your feelings. I didn't have too much trouble here. But this is the last enemy in your way when you head to the boss, and the boss of this level is a real shit burger. Most likely you're gonna die at the boss a few times, and you have to start at the beginning of the level. You get more frustrated and stressed, then that damn mind flayer starts kicking your ass. So I get to probably one of the worst bosses in this game, the Man-Eater. It's a gargoyle type of boss. If you've played the Dark Souls series and Elden Ring, you might have seen bosses similar to this one, but this type of boss originated here. You fight him on somewhat of a bridge. This boss has charge attacks that bounce you around, a sound wave attack that can push you, a pounding attack, and of course he can fly away whenever he feels like it. If possible, you want to try to cut off its tail, otherwise it can use a poison attack. You're probably thinking, well okay, this doesn't sound too bad. But trust me, it gets a lot worse. Guess what the worst part of this battle is? That's right, a second one joins in the fight. After a couple of minutes or so, a second Man-Eater joins in, and this is where you're up shit's creek. When the battle begins, you want to inflict as much damage as possible to the first Man-Eater, but as you can see here, he still has a lot of health left. And now I'm stuck in a major storm of bullshit. It's difficult to fight these two at once. You can go in the middle of the bridge and use the fire pit in the middle to protect yourself from some of their attacks, but it's not a guaranteed safety zone. I'm a bit disappointed in my Flameberg. I thought it would cause a bit more damage than that. A lot of their attacks can bounce you around and you might oftentimes be thrown off the structure to your death. They combo you, I'm being bounced around like a friggin' ping pong ball. This fight just sucks. So I lost my body form, I'm back in soul form. Now I'm back to the friggin' mind flayer. Alright, here we try again. I'm back to my longsword. It probably causes a bit less damage, but it's faster than the Flameberg. Oh wow, 3 free hits, that was cool. Now the second one's coming in again. Oh god, I'm nervous. It's basically a gang rape. And I'm dead again. Ah damn this fight.
Uh-oh, he's getting close to the reach quit button.
This is one of those fights that, when I get here, I never know how much damage my weapon will do to the man-eaters. Sometimes I'm surprised that I'm doing a lot of damage and I get the bosses on my first try, but other times, like now, my damage output is very small. I just want to get past them. Ah frig, what a cheap shot. I can't get over that they put this type of enemy on this structure before this shitty boss fight. I'm trying Turpentine, see if I can do more damage. Okay, so it's still not a ton of damage. I like that he staggers more now though. I have trouble reading these guys. Usually you hit them once and they counterattack right away. But sometimes he just stops for a minute. I never know what to expect. Oh jeez, I'm not very hopeful on this turn either. Ah, damn it, damn it, damn it. I really don't want to quit this challenge. Alright, I guess I'll stop it here for today. Disappointing, I wasn't able to complete a level. But I'm gonna try this again in the next episode. I might try to raise a couple of soul levels and beef myself up a bit, off camera. I don't feel ready for this fight. This level and the second level in the Valley of Defilement are usually the 2 last levels I tackle in this game, because I hate this boss so much and I hate the friggin' swamp in the Valley of Defilement. So I'm facing the man-eaters a little prematurely. Well, prematurely for me. I'm sure some other players would do better. But I'm gonna try this again in the next episode, so keep gaming everyone. Hello everybody, welcome back to Creative Gaming. In the last episode I rolled a 3, which made me return to Latria for its second level. My journey through the level went fine, but I kinda hit a roadblock with its bosses, the man-eaters. Alright, I raised a couple of soul levels. I couldn't really upgrade my weapons because I haven't unlocked the appropriate levels, but I'm refreshed. I haven't played this game in a week or so. I'm cool, I'm collected, so let's try this again. This is one of those fights that's very variable, in the sense that in one playthrough you might beat them without too much trouble, but then in another playthrough you can struggle as hell. Alright, so I'm not starting off too well. My rolls aren't timed right. I do believe there is an element of luck in this battle. Ideally, you want to kill the first man-eater before the second one shows up, but that's pretty difficult to do unless you can get your character overpowered. Fighting one man-eater at a time is manageable, but when you have 2 to deal with, it really turns into a shit show. Like this right here, I just got gored off the platform. Alright, pretty rough start. This is one of the last bosses I usually tackle when I do a normal playthrough of this game, just because of how stressful this boss battle is. Ah, god damn it. I'm supposed to be playing better right now, not worse. I'm at the Mind Flayer again. Oh great, it's just spamming Soul Arrow over and over. One shot takes out like 75% of my total hit points. Ah, shit. He's got me again. Oh, F you. That was a load of crap. I'm hitting the bullshit button.
Bullshit detected. Take precautions.
I can't even make it to the boss anymore. I'm timing my hits carefully because if you hit him while he's reacting to your attack, he can't get you when he's not stunned anymore. I'll try fire again. Now, one of my mistakes here is I should be targeting the tail. He takes more damage when you directly hit his tail. But after a few hits it falls off, so he doesn't have that weakness anymore. There we go. But still, I'm not doing a ton of damage. Although I hate this fight, but the setting is pretty cool. Being on this structure, you can see lightning in the distance, that's a nice touch. The man-eaters fly away and you just see their silhouettes. It kinda has that creepy Batman Gotham style vibe. After the man-eaters kill you a couple of times, you start to realize what you're up against and you get more nervous. Another one of my mistakes here is attacking it face to face. You probably want to get him from the side or behind. Now the second man-eater is here. I was only able to get the first one to half energy. I'm kinda doing well, although this battle is dragging a bit. I need to get rid of one of them. And I got comboed. Now I'm being more careful in targeting its tail. Oh, I got a nice combo in there. Damn, you want to attack it before it unleashes its poison. And comboed again. Alright, screw this crap. I'm gonna use my cheat.
No such luck, buddy boy. You already used your cheat.
What?
Valley of Defilement, remember?
Damn it. You mean I've pretty much exhausted all my options? I have to get past this boss or this challenge run will be over.
Oh, come on now. That ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
Oh, frig, I was doing well there. I was really piling on the damage. Practice makes perfect. I seem to be doing a little better. Got him down to past half, but it still puts me in a long battle against two. Can I hit him through the fire pit? No, of course not. You've probably seen this type of boss fight in other Souls games, but this iteration is the worst version. No, I was doing well.
Bullshit level, DEFCON 5. Warning, that was bullshit.
I fucking hate this shit.
Uh-oh, he's losing his speech. That's not good.
Alright, I'm sorry folks, I guess I've reached the end of this challenge run.
Dylan, isn't this your season finale? You quit in the middle of the episode. What are you gonna do now, Dylan? What are you gonna do now?
Season finale. Oh, it's episode 20. I guess it is, isn't it?
You got nothing prepared, do you?
Well, of course I'm prepared. I'm Dylan Evers. I'm ready for anything. What am I gonna do? Alright, I think I'm just gonna wing it. It's sad that I had to quit this challenge run, though it's the friggin' man-eaters. I don't think too many people will blame me. But you know what? Let's just have some fun. I failed the challenge, the pressure's off, but I'm still in the mood to play some Demon Souls. So let's pretend that I did beat the man-eaters, or that I had a cheat I could use. Let's roll the die just for fun and see what possible level I could have gotten next. I roll a 6. 6 is my wild card. Oh gosh. So I could have chosen whatever level I wanted. Where was that roll when I needed it? So I probably would have chosen the level in Boletaria, which is a good early level to play through. So let's play this level. But you know, this entire year I never rolled a wild in any of my playthroughs.
Well, you did in Mega Man 3.
Well, yeah, but that was during the Doc Robot levels. It doesn't really matter what order you do those levels in. So this second level of Boletaria is pretty straightforward, just crossing several bridges, with a fire-breathing dragon setting everything on fire. Having beaten the first levels of Latria and Shrine of Storms, by now I'm a bit overpowered for this level. That reminds me, since this red dragon is here now, he's probably gone from that first area. Wait a minute, he's still here? I thought he would leave after I get to the bridge in that second level. Alright, we might as well just get past these bridges. It's been quite a first year of creative gaming, right Negativu? I started with Mega Man X Challenge, rolling a die for the levels. Then I rolled dice to create my party in the original Final Fantasy. It's impressive to watch this big dragon attack the bridge, pretty scary. Oh, there's a catalyst here too. Had I rolled this level early, I could have gotten access to magic as well. You can run through this second bridge, but there is also a path underneath worth exploring. I then started a Zelda Breath of the Wild challenge, which is still ongoing. Then I did Mega Man 2, started a Dragon Quest III HD 2D challenge, which is still ongoing. Merchant here. Oh, he sells the Claymore. I read somewhere that the Claymore is pretty effective against the man-eaters, but with the levels I unlocked, I couldn't get one. Again, you have to be careful with these bridges. Time your runs between the dragons passing. It actually is possible to kill these dragons, but it's one of the longest, most boring endeavors ever. You can use a bow and arrows, but you would need between 200 and 300 arrows, if not more. You have to position yourself right and hit the dragon once it passes by. Ah, now I remember. That first level of Boletaria, you can fire a few arrows at the dragon, and if you do that, it eventually flies away. I forgot about that. I said in a previous video that the Valley of Defilement was the most useless level to visit in terms of items. It does have a few important things though. The best items actually are the boss souls. When you beat the bosses, you get their souls, and you can actually get useful spells like Poison Cloud, Acid Cloud, and Death Cloud. You can actually poison the dragon here, which chips away at its health. So that, combined with arrows, you can take down the dragon, but it still takes a considerable amount of time. Now I get to probably the most iconic boss of Demon Souls, the Tower Knight. This is a pretty cool introduction. It's definitely intimidating. You see this huge iron giant clad in armor, a fat official, and a few archers perched above. As you enter the arena, you're face to face right away with the boss. Now, if you attempt to fight him right away, you'll have a bunch of arrows targeted at you. Again, it's best to use your brain. It's best to get past the giant, then take care of the other enemies involved in this boss fight. Tower Knight can throw a sword of light in your direction, so you have to be mindful of that. This is one of the things I love about Demon's Souls. A few of the boss fights have an explorable arena where you don't have to constantly be spammed by the boss. I find as the Souls series went on, the boss fights turned more and more into aggressive spamming combo attacks that you had to roll a number of times to avoid and hope that you have enough stamina left to get one swing in. But the bosses in this game feel more diversified to me. You never know what to expect. You sometimes have pillars in a safe spot, and you can observe the boss's behavior. Whereas, as the series went, the bosses are constantly on your ass and it becomes a rolling orgy, with variations here and there. But in all of the Souls games, the bosses usually have a cool look and interesting lore behind them. The Tower Knight fight is a bit similar in concept to the Adjudicator, in the sense that you attack it and you don't cause a lot of damage. You attack its feet, but the damage is very minor. You eventually see blue lights coming out of its feet, and it clicks in your mind that you're onto something. As you do this to both its feet, Tower Knight eventually collapses on its back and you can go attack its head, which deals considerably more damage. This is a very cool boss fight, probably the coolest in the game, and it's very satisfying to win. It's no surprise that this boss is kind of the commercial for this game. Alright, so this level was just me having a little bit of fun, post rage quitting. But if any of you want to attempt this challenge, there is one final thing that I should explain that I didn't explain before. You might be wondering, what is the goal of this challenge? Do I have to beat every single level? And the answer to that is no. The final boss, King Alant, is actually in the last level of Boletaria. So it sounds like if you roll a 1 3 times, you could go to the final boss and win, right? Well, not exactly. There is one catch. After you beat Tower Knight here, there is a fog door. You can't proceed to the next level yet. You have to beat one of the archdemons, that is, the last boss in any one of the other levels. So to beat an entire level, you would have to roll the die to that level 3 times total. After you beat an archdemon, if you're lucky enough to roll 1 a couple of times, that would take you to the end. If I ever do a Demon's Souls challenged run again, I might consider rolling 2 dice instead of 1. I would choose one of the 2 levels I roll. I found rolling just 1 die a little strict. That won't be for some time though, unless viewers really want to see that. I would love to talk about some of the other levels and bosses. I do love this game, although it kicks my ass. Well, I guess that about sums it up. Got anything to add, Negativio?
Worst season finale since Dexter?
Oh, come on, Cat. It wasn't that bad. Enjoy the rest of the year, folks, and we'll hopefully be back for a second season. I have many more game challenge ideas. Show your support, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and keep gaming, everyone.